Good morning. I've been at work all night like this. I feel like one of those, I feel like a cone head. Yeah. I don't care. I have my hair up in a bun underneath my hat. It's whatever. Yeah. Like I sit in a glass box all night, right? People only see me if, I go outside. I have a couple of videos that I recorded, right? I'm one of those people, I like to keep it moving. So if I record it and, don't upload it or whatever, it's probably because I was bitching in it and I don't want to, it's necessary, right? Just because of the nature of the shit that I deal with. Sometimes it's not necessary for everybody else to but I do like to be thorough, open, and honest, right? Because a lot of people just feel right? And that's normal. We need to normalize, right? Because if there is a collective problem and no one is addressing it, right, then what progress are you going to make? None. So anyways, let's talk about the juicy shit of the morning. Look at that beautiful sunshine. Yeah. And I also want to show you something over here that I discovered yesterday morning, right? I think it's the second photo. Yeah, because those were the ones that I took at work when I heard that terrible thing about the Cinderella comment, right? It was so offensive, right? I'm so used to I've got Wednesday Addams response, right? It's just whatever. All right. At this point, it's okay, asshole. Whatever. Right. I guess you call that desensitized, right? I was desensitized as a child, okay? Like, I'm using these full moon backflow incense cones. I got them just whatever, but they smell great, yeah. You get them at Walmart. They're $1 for 40 of them. Can't beat it. Anyways, I think because I am the pattern queen, right? This morning I'm looking at the clock, right? Oh, girl doesn't come in until a little bit later. I said, where the hell is she, right? Let me back it up for a minute. Yesterday, I don't know if she just forgot to clock in or whatever, or if Michelle was just probing the supervisor, right? First off, let me talk about the supervisor. The supervisor comes in and she's angry, right? And I've had 2 days off, and then my first 2 days back are very quiet, and then I have someone barking at me. I looked at her, I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, calm down, right? And she's like, I'm so sorry. She was like, they called me about fucking toilet paper over the weekend and fucking blah, 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 blah. I was like, and she was complaining about people calling her on her day off, right? Over stupid shit, right? I was like, yeah, I would have just called down to the second office over here and been like, hey, right? Some people just don't think. Anyways, so she calls me whenever I'm at home, but because I keep my phone on Do Not Disturb, right? I didn't hear it, but I was making coffee, and so I saw it, and so I called her back, and I was like, hey, and she was like, oh, I thought you might have gone to bed already. I was like, no. I was like, what's up? And she was like, did April show up to work on time? I was like, yeah, she showed up on time, right? But it didn't fucking click until this morning why she would have called me and asked me that. Yeah. Because looking at the clock, I said, oh shit. I said, what is this fuckery, right? She's calling me, asking me if she was late yesterday, and she's well on her way to being late today. Subconsciously, I have absorbed the fact that one of the employees from the people that we are contract for mysteriously comes in right behind her every single morning. I said, oh, hell no. I said, these two are having a fucking affair. She's married. She's the one that's always talking about Jesus and, you know, the church and shit, right? Leaving fucking cards. I don't know if they're reminders for her or what, but she comes in and I said, this bitch is having a fucking... She's having an affair. These two are meeting before they, like, come in, right? Because she's getting in trouble for, like, having people, like, in the office or whatever. Anywho, I just wanted to get that, like, little juicy whatever out, you know? And she was acting kind of weird when she came in this morning. Like, yeah, I bet you could feel. I bet you can. Mm-hmm. I'm not really going to call this an epiphany, right? But, a week ago, I was down at the other office. And some of the guys, like, at the other location I was at, like, mentioned this to me, and it just didn't fucking click. I always just joke with them, right? I was like, I couldn't do that, like, blah, 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 blah. And then one of the guys last week gave me a book to study. And it's for the technical college up here, right? North Georgia. So I've given thought to, like, okay, like, oh, let me blah, blah, blah. Yesterday, I went to go get my oil changed, right? Because I was like 2,000 miles over. Like, I was like, I really need to get this done because I'm driving further, and it, like, you know, slipped my mind that you're going to have more frequent oil changes because you're traveling further, yeah? And so I had a $25 off coupon. I mentioned this in the video that I recorded yesterday. I might upload that one. So usually I pay about $50 for my oil change, yeah? So I had $25 off. I could have saved $25 and did what I normally do, right? Or I could have stayed right where I was but got better upgraded, right? So I chose to upgrade, right? It's good to run something like better quality through the engine, right? Like, engine's important. I know what happens if you don't. I know what happens if you do not get regular oil changes, right? Right? Because that's how my fucking block blew driving between fucking Gatlinburg and South Knoxville, between the Masons and the lawyer's business. Mason, lawyer, Mason, lawyer. Yeah. So anyways, this morning I'm sitting there, or I've just been like, this is not fucking working for me, right? I was like, this shit is not working for me. I do not like it, right? But I'm not exactly thrilled. I did not pick a good... It's good for my sciences, this area, but it is not good, like, industry-wise, right? Which is good, because we want to keep it to a minimum, because this is beautiful space, right? So I decided to dig a little deeper, right? After I was done with my, like, sciencey shit, I was like, okay, let's do this. So I looked up the information. I was like, oh my God, this sounds like... I do not want to sit in a classroom for months, right? I don't. I'm more of a hands-on person, right? Like, you got to get in and, like, do the thing, right? That's how I learned best, right? And that I could refine. So I went with the idea, right? Because it gave me the book already. So there's things that I can get taken care of ahead of time. And so I looked into another option, right? And I was like, whoa, that's expensive. More expensive than the college, right? And because it cuts the time in half, right? Because you're not having all the extra shit. But then there was an even better option. Now this company is based out of Texas. Hopefully I wouldn't have to go all the way to Texas. Hopefully they would use someone that they work with in this area, right? That would be ideal for me. But I would be fine with going to Texas too, right? I did some good stuff in Texas, okay? Like, I'm fine with whatever. So this company solves problem B with the fast track, but more expensive, right? Like $6,000. By just directly creating a contract with them to do the work. I think the hours are a little more, right? Like I think 160 for the $6,000 fast track. It's 160 hours. The school is, I don't know, like maybe like more like 200, but it's all like mostly classroom. But this is like 240, I think, hours. But they pay you to do the school, right? See, I cannot have, like, whenever I went to school for the legal stuff, right? Like, I worked overnight, but I could work on that, like, at work, right? It's quiet. I can't do that with this. Like, I have to be there. So I took the nudge. And then I said to myself, oh my God. I said, no, I need to do this, right? I have to go back and refine, like, all of my work. Right? I do. I need to refine all of my work so that it creates the good change, since I'm much more evolved now, right? Because that was done pure instinct, but I was like working out a lot of stuff, right? This will be much more zeroed in, and I'm choosing the order, right? Which is also a plus, right? And it pays fucking ridiculously well, and no one will bother me. I will work alone, right? So I'm in the middle of filling the thing out, right? It's really long, but I'm gonna finish that this morning before I go to sleep, right? I'm not doing the stick around shit with these people. I'm not. I have shit that I need to do, right? I do. So that is the proper track. So I'm gonna get on that. I'm actually already working on it, so that's good, right? It is. It's really good because hopefully I can just give up my lease here come February, right? That would be great. Yep. And my cats, if I have to go to Texas, right, for all that time, which I'm really thinking there's something in commerce that will work, right? There's an affiliate. There's a school that I looked into that I believe is part of their thing. So, but I don't know. It did say something about going out to Texas on Military Avenue or some shit, yeah. But anyways, I will just have my landlord take care of my cats while I'm gone. So, and then I can bring them with me, right? I'm not getting rid of my cats. Like, I love my cats. They're like mildly annoying, but I love my cats, right? I do. Did I go over that? Okay, yeah. So like that second picture, that blue face thing, right? That's totally what was talking shit in my space, yeah. which is exactly how that fucking mountain looks. Oh, should I talk about that? Okay, yeah. So when I was in commerce, right? We all know what commerce is. Trump was in commerce, right? Trump was in commerce, and I was a lot of the Secret Service stayed at the Hilton. Yeah, government. Well, maybe not Biden's administration, but at least Trump's. I can speak for that. Yeah. Uh, they are the cheapest motherfuckers, right? Like if there is a discount to be had, these motherfuckers will not give you a discount, will they? Nope. Anyways, but yeah, that's the city. That's the city. That's the city that I burned those fucked up papers. Let's talk about it. Yeah, the papers accusing me of witchcraft. Now, I don't know if that was your magic or like what, right? To the dear fuckers that like sent it to me, yes, and put their signatures all over it. I just burned it right there. And do you know what else happened on that property? There was a chemical engineer that was staying there. He was contracted in the area, and he was like a long-term like contract. He stayed there for like a few months. Well, his name was Nathan, and his sister uh, got him interested in and involved in hoodoo with psalms, right? Everyone knows that like those communities mix Bible stuff in with their stuff, just like the Catholics do, right? All the Catholic stuff is witchcraft too. It is. So anyways, if you ever notice like the Pope's hat looks like a fish, right? And then if you ever notice that like with the village, the African village that's in South Carolina, right? Like it's all water creatures, right? It is. If you didn't know that, look it up and you'll see. So anyways, his sister got him into that, right? And so he knew somebody that was going to court over something with the DOJ, right? He showed me the pictures on his phone, right? He's not lying, like, he's not lying. Showed me the this huge Bible. He did it with his, like, really nice, huge Bible, right? So he made this, like, tinfoil over this pan, and he put candles. I'm trying to, like, look at it in my... I'm a visual person, right? I have a photographic memory, right? So he like put these candles on it, and he had his Bible like in the middle, and he put the DOJ card. He did the hoodoo on it, right? And he went to court. He went to court to listen to the case and blah blah blah. And when he came back, the candles were still burning, and the middle of his Bible was burnt. And the part that said, "Judge, not lest ye be judged," you know that part, that verse. But the whole motherfucker had set on fire, but all the candles were still lit, right? And they weren't on it. And he did that in the bathroom. Like he'd left it in the bathroom. I don't know about anybody else, but I wouldn't leave no candles burning in my house, like unattended, right? So there was that. We're just going over some things that are relevant, right? Because everything ties together. Yes, it does. So, and I'm getting to the good part, right? Anyways, I want to talk about this one lady that came in during that like Trump rally or whatever, right? She was really pretty. She was. For an older lady, right? Dressed super well, like really pretty. But I felt like her attitude was a little shit, right? And you got to keep in mind, like I was in school. So I'm doing 9-hour tests, like law tests and shit like that. And this bitch is coming up and acting like I should know who the fuck she is, right? I hate people like that, right? I fucking hate people like that. I don't care who This will change though, right? So anyways, I don't know what she was upset about, right? Like, most of the stuff people get upset about isn't worth being upset about. But I looked her up on the internet after we had this little whatever, right? But before she ever spoke, I looked at her and I thought, oh, wow, she's really pretty. Like, blah, blah, blah. My thoughts are always good until fucking people, like, come up and say some dumb shit, right? But the dumb shit will make sense, right? So she goes, and I decide to look her up, right? And I found her on the internet on an old video, like on a women's talk show or something like that, right? And she was talking about how she had gotten into a bad accident or whatever, and she had been in the pageantry circuit and had been trying to go and to be Miss America, right? But then she had this accident and it messed her up, and then she couldn't. It was just a really sad story, right? Like, it was really fucking sad, and I was just like it was something that like happened to her leg or something, right? And I feel really bad, like, whenever I listen to that, and then I like the empathy and the compassion, right? I was like, why do people think that they need like others' validation for things, right? Like, aren't you already Miss America? You have a successful like business. You're beautiful. You're involved with, community whatevers, like obviously in the political whatever, right? Like, aren't you already Miss America? Like, why do you need, right? Why do you need, like, but maybe it's just because people have goals, right? Right. I don't know. I don't know. It's just a good question for anyone to ask themselves, yeah? Like, why do you need that external validation, right? Why? Ask yourself. If you constantly seek other people's approval, first I'm going to tell you, you're never going to be fucking good enough, right? You're never going to be good enough for the wrong people. That's the truth, right? You're never going to be good enough for the wrong people. And there's a lot more wrong people than there are right people. Yeah. So it is best to just vibe with your tribe, right? Like, validate yourself, do your own thing. Never allow other people to tell you your experiences, right? Your experiences, should they be truth, are not a topic of fucking debate for anyone. They're not. And never let anyone make you believe that they fucking are, right? Never up for debate. It's never up for debate, right? This world has a big problem with wanting to like give opinions and input on others' experiences when they weren't there, right? That is fucking weird. That is gaslighting to the max, right? Like, give people the space. We can encounter the same person and have completely different experiences with them. That is possible, right? Two things can be true at once, right? If I meet, so I went in and spoke with this judge here, right? Like, it was right after I got out of school, right? Like, I was working with the lady from public defense, right? So anyways, I went in and I sat down with her and I sat down with him. But beforehand, because I always tell you to do like your research and stuff. And as soon as I found out that this sleazy bastard did some really sleazy shit. And you know what he did? He resigned from the bench just long enough to not be held accountable for old Sonny to reinstate him when it all like blew over. I thought, you know what he did? He there was a custody case in court, and he did something to the dad, actually, right? Because he was had taken the woman or some shit, like, to, they had been at like in Vegas together. Somebody had like wrecked a car. It was a whole thing, right? So from that moment, like, my whatever, right? Like, I always want the world to like prove to me that it's like not just a big shithole full of shitheads, right? But I just run into all the shitheads, right? And so sitting across from him, like, I didn't even have the fucking, I didn't have the pretend in me, right? And so I said things, right? He was like, I asked him why he got into law, right? And then he was asking me, like, why I was studying that, right? And I said, well, I said, don't you love, like, the game of chess, right? I was like, don't you love, like, making moves on the board where there's no option for anyone to move around them, right? Needless to say, I didn't get that job. I didn't want it, right? I don't want to work for somebody like that. No, right? I don't want to fucking work for someone. I don't, right? Like, what the fuck is wrong with people, right? Do you stand for nothing? Like, do you not, like, I just really hate whenever people are good at, like, talking about shit, but they do not fucking uphold it. They call it a hypocrite, right? Don't be a fucking hypocrite, right? It is not that hard to, like, be self-aware and, like, make good choices and decisions, right? And thorough thought and decisions, right? Where do people get lazy is what happens. Yeah, they do. Anyways, I was driving home this morning, right? I'm so glad I'm out of, like, this funk with this. Anyways. Oh, I'm not done with that, yeah? So, I had a dream after I burned those papers, right? I was standing in a laboratory, right? And do you know, GNG's, that's actually a military college up here, right? North Georgia, whatever, right? I had greatly considered and had gone through the hoops and whatnot to, like, and then I was like, anywho, like, I already know this shit, right? So anyways, like, I was in a laboratory, I had on a lab coat, I had on high heels, right? But whenever I tried to walk, I kept, like, fucking sliding around like I was on glass or like ice or something. Glass is what it felt like, right? Like, I just couldn't stand up. And then I saw that shoe, and then I went down this square chute. It was like a chute, right? And so then I run out of the building, and then I just get sucked up into the sky, black as night. The parking lot looked different. It looked familiar, right? Yeah. And whenever I was in the lab, I was like, I'm not a fucking waitress. I'm like, I'm a fucking scientist, right? Like, what the fuck is this, like, trying to convince me? Like, right? Hey, we're fucking pulling people through fucking whatever's, right? And fucking erasing their memories. That's a real thing. That's a real fucking thing. Right? They erase it so much. And they fuck you up so much that you're looking at these people that you're in a house with and you're like, who the fuck are these people? Right? Or you can't process your words the way you can think, right? And then you're like, what the fuck happened to my intelligence? Why am I so dumb right now? Why can I not do simple tasks? Why can't I, like, write my name? Right? Yeah, like that. Anyways, and that was onward with that little issue, yeah. Or in that whole little area there, right, where all this political stuff, yeah. And I already told you I went to that rally and I recorded from afar whenever, for whatever reason, they had a signal jammer out there, right? And you couldn't record the fucking sound, but I did have an app on my phone that records only whenever sound is made. And I was able to, like, take clips of that, right? And you may remember whenever I said the frequencies played at the rally, right? So they were mixing it in with, like, oldies songs, yeah. And, I stayed in my car, like, way out. They wanted me to throw away my lighter. That was my favorite lighter with a little bird on it. So I don't think so. Like, I went back to my car, popped the thing up, right, sat in the back of it and recorded. And so the frequencies were mixed in with, like, oldies music. And there was, like, sounded like from the depths of hell frequencies that they were putting on there, right? And plus, Trump, you really should show up on fucking time, right? Just show up on time. Anyways, I heard a dog bark and I heard the term Beelzebub, which we don't get at a fluster around here on language. Why? Because whatever language that you use that is not vibrational is not trustworthy. Period. Right? When you're observing things clearly with sound and the resonance and whatnot, right? There's a lot of factors that go into that, right? A lot of things can get distorted. So don't focus on the name. Just observe and leave it at that, right? And see how things go, right? Because I've recorded that multiple times, right? But you'll also hear things like the evil one and blah, blah, blah. I prefer to go back to the very, 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 like, basic, right? The very basic term, right? Which is just a particularly bad energy, right? Or evil energy, or energy that, like, does not coerce good things, does not promote good things, does not do good things, does not enable good things, right? That's how I like to just separate those things so that we can kind of be on the all on the same page, right? Everyone can understand that, right? There are things that go out of their way to make you fucking miserable or make your life miserable. And then there are things or people that go out of their way to make your life easier, right? Which one are you? I would ask myself that, right? Which one are you, right? Simple as that. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so this is clearly the next step, because I've got to go back and refine a lot of my work, right, that I did. For sure. But it will be better. Yeah. And I was driving home today and I was like, man, I feel like, the government is like, I don't know if your moms or your grandmothers ever watched soap operas, right? Like, you could not watch it for like 6 months, a year, and come back and they've barely moved from the plot, right? Like, it's still, they're just dragging it out, right? That's what I thought about the government. And then I was like, well, my stuff kind of unfolds like slowly over time too, right? Because I had made a video stating, right, this is not a channel that you come to and just pop in and think that you're going to understand any fucking thing, right? Like, you need to watch it or pay attention like daily if you're interested in it, right? This is not, your attention span can be, you know, TikTok attention span. It's got to be like deep thinking, deep conscious, deep awareness, right? Like, this is a deep peek, a deep view into energy, yeah. And learning how to like create and design instead of consume, yeah. But anyways, yeah. So should I am going to do this, yes. No matter what route I have to take, I am going to do this. So this is not something that I'm going to state is if I, no, I am. So whenever I do this, this will be great because I can share with all of you kind of like the refined version of the beginning of amazing, yeah. Except for this time, like, I won't be collecting things from people, right? Like the first time, like, people would give me things like in different areas or whatnot, or I would work with yada yada. I'm just going to, it's just going to be me, and we will not see this every day, right? Like, oh, that's what I want to show you. Come along, come along. Look what I fucking found yesterday. I say found, but like something that's. Do you see that? Do you see how perfect that is? Or hold on the other way. Do you see it? It looks like it was. Interesting, huh? Nibbies, what are you looking at, buddy? Nibbies. Hi, Nibs. I felt